All right, how's it going, guys? We're going to be doing some shooting today with both the Glock 26 and the M&P Shield. Now, these are both 9mm, and they're both subcompacts. I've been criticized a bit by comparing the M&P Shield with the Ruger LCP. They're kind of different calibers, and some people thought that they were, too much apples to oranges. Now, I know that some people are going to criticize me for comparing the M&P Shield with the Glock 26 because the Glock 26 is a double stack, whereas the M&P Shield is a single stack. I realize that this is not necessarily an apples to apples comparison. Really, an apples to apples or a straight across comparison with the M&P Shield would be the Kel-Tec PF9 or the CAR CM9 or PM9, those type of guns. Those would be a little bit more of the same genre. But whereas I don't have one of those today, the Glock 26 is going to be what it's compared with. Now, to start off, we'll give you just a little bit of little stats on each one. The Glock is a 10+1 round capacity. The M&P Shield is a 7+1 round capacity, as you see it in this configuration here. There's also an extended magazine, which gives you an extra round for 8+1 capacity. So the Glock wins in capacity. Now, the Glock has a 3.46-inch barrel, and the M&P Shield has a 3.1-inch barrel. So we do get a little bit of a velocity advantage with the Glock over the Shield because of that third of an inch more. It may not sound like a lot, but when you're talking in short barrels, it does make somewhat of a difference. The sighting radius of both of these guns is pretty similar, so there's not really much to talk about that way. But when it comes to sights, the factory Glock sights, and let me show you guys kind of like what I'm talking about here. The factory sights are not that great on the Glock. I'm not a big fan of them. They're polymer. I recommend really changing them out if you can to a nice Trijicon night sight or Memperlite or even the Glock, even the standard Glock sights. Now, the M&P Shield sights are a much nicer sight. They're all metal. They're 3-dot Novak style. As you can see, if you can see this, you can see that there's a little bit of texturing serrations on the back of that slide. That helps cut down on glare, so it's a really nice touch. It just goes to show that the Smith & Wesson put a lot of thought into designing the Smith & Wesson Shield. Now, another critical factor when you're considering a subcompact gun for self-protection is the trigger. Now, the M&P Shield, I'm actually quite a fan of the trigger. It is a 6.5-pound trigger, so I wish it was closer to 5.5. But it is every bit of 6.5 pounds. But it is a lot more crisp than the Glock. If anyone has shot a Glock trigger, they know that it's a bit mushy. The one advantage that Glock has over the Shield trigger is that the Glock has a better reset. And we all know, anyone that's ever had any experience with the Glock, and it's well known, that the Glock reset is the best on the market. But the Shield actually has a better reset than its larger counterpart, the M&P9. One of the other differences between the Shield and the Glock 26 is that the Shield does have a manual thumb safety right here on the back. I'm not a big fan of manual safeties. I think they're superfluous. I don't think you need them, especially if you keep your finger off of the trigger and use the safety between your ears. Okay, so when we're talking about the subcompact category of weapons, these are meant for concealed carry. We're looking at the dimensions, the overall dimensions of the guns. Now, if you compare both of these, one of the critical factors of whether or not a gun is comfortable for concealment is the width of the overall gun. The M&P9, according to Smith & Wesson, is 0.95 inches wide, where the Glock is 1.18 inches wide. So we do have a thinner gun with the Shield. Now, that is also because it is a single stacked weapon. There's only the rounds are all single stacked on top of each other, whereas the Glock is a staggered configuration, and that aids in its thin profile. So it may not seem like a big difference to you, but when you are carrying, that 0.2 of an inch difference makes all the difference in the world in whether or not it's comfortable to carry and easy to carry. The other critical dimension with a concealed carry gun is the height of the overall height of the gun. The length of the gun is a lot easier to conceal. It doesn't pose as much of a problem factor as the overall height. The end of the pistol grip is going to be what really protrudes and prints on your shirt. So the Glock does have a bit of a height advantage by about 1/4 of an inch. So it's a little bit shorter, so in that dimension it's going to be easier to conceal carry. But because of its overall width, I think that pretty well balances out between the two. And overall, I think the Shield would be a much easier gun to conceal. Okay, so I think that pretty well gives you a pretty good idea of the differences between them on paper. Let's go ahead and take some shots and see how well they perform. All right, first we're going to take some shots with the M&P Shield, all right? And this is 10 yards. Okay, so you can see some of the recoil of that. We're gonna bring it in and do some slow-mo on it too, but anyway, that's the first 7 rounds with the Shield. Let's load up another mag here. One thing about the M&P Shield that I didn't mention before is that with the extended magazine, which is the 8-round, you can get a full grip on the gun. Otherwise, both the Glock and the M&P, your pinky is off the bottom. But this mag allows you to have a full grip. All right, let's take some more shots here. Okay, now one thing that I've observed with the M&P Shield is that when I have this mag on, it changes the way the gun shoots for me. So I'm actually a little less consistent in my accuracy when I have the full grip. I'm kind of unusual. I actually shoot well with my pinky off of the gun. I don't know why, but I do have no problem shooting with that. But this actually changes the dynamics of the gun, and I've noticed that. So that, to me, is a little bit of a downside. In fact, if I was to carry this gun, this is not my concealed gun, but if I was to carry this gun, I'd just do 2 7-round mags, and I'd skip the 8-rounder. All right, now let's go ahead and take some shots with the Glock 26. This is one of my favorite Glocks. It is by far one of the most accurate Glocks I can shoot. Like I said before, I'm a little bit weird, and I can shoot with my pinky off the gun extremely well. And with the Glock 26, I'm very, very comfortable with. Let's go ahead and take another mag through it. As you can tell, you can get on this gun very, very easily once you get used to it. Now, I do have smaller hands, and so that does help me somewhat in being able to maneuver my hands around and being able to change my grip up. I have noticed with people with larger hands, they do have a bit of a harder time really getting on the gun and getting comfortable with it, but that comes with practice as well. Don't mind that. Nothing to see here. Ah! Now I know people are going to ask what I would actually prefer. And if it came right down to it and I had to choose between these two pistols, I would probably choose the M&P Shield. Mainly because of the sheer convenience in which you can carry it. That slimmer profile makes it so much easier to conceal. You are losing 2 rounds to the Glock, and the Glock also has the ability to hold the Glock 19 and the Glock 17 mags. So that's nice for a reload. But I think for sheer convenience and concealed carry, I think that the M&P Shield is a great gun. But like I said, guys, it's really splitting hairs. Either way you go, I think you'll be really well served. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe at the top of the screen so for more videos just like this. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your guys' experience with these two guns are. And don't forget to rate and share the video. It does help the video out, and it does help our channel grow, and I really appreciate it. I do appreciate what you guys do for my channel and for my family. And as always, guys, thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. See ya.
And I'm gay. Yes, I'm DocTacDad and I'm gay. I like guns. Lots of guns.